What's going on? The APEcoach from Six-Pack Gaming, where we bring you the best play-to-earn NFT games and new Metaverse projects. Now today we are back with another update here on Pegaxy. There has been a lot of updates coming out with this. I wanted to get a video out sooner, but we had the holidays and all that, so I hope you guys all had a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Now it's time to get back into it. We've got updates on the 2022 roadmap for Pegaxy, some updates on potential Pega Burning features, VIS Burning features, stadium sales, guild tools, a whole bunch of stuff. We got, 3D racing, skill-based, player-controlled racing, tons of stuff that we've gotten some insights on. So I'm gonna update you guys all on that. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe and got those notifications turned on, and let's dive right into it. Oh, and one more quick thing just before we jump in. The last video that we did on Pegaxy, I said if we hit, it was 125 likes and 125 comments. I kind of leveled it out. We hit almost 200 comments and 105 likes. So with that being hit, we are going to be doing another free NFT giveaway this video. All right, so you're going to want to stick around for that. But first, let's go over everything going on with Pegaxy. As you can see, we just bred another bunch here. We have been breeding. We have been busy in the Six-Pack Gaming Guild, getting these scholars hooked up with their Pegas, getting them racing, and it's been incredible. I mean, that's one of the coolest things of being able to offer these scholarships, and that we've had some scholars already that were able to buy some new PCs, scholars that were able to pay off tuition fees and things like that. So it's it's amazing that we can play a game and make a difference in our complete lifestyle, right? Like it's incredible. So with that being said, let's go over some of the updates and all the things that are in the works here. I've got some notes, okay, because Corey has been pumping out the updates. They've been doing leaks and all this stuff on Twitter here. So if you're not following Corey, who is the CMO at Pegaxy, if you're not following the official Pegaxy Twitter, you definitely want to get over there, drop them a follow, because they're releasing some sneak peeks and some leaks and all that sort of stuff. All right, so I have my sort of notes here because Corey put out a video yesterday, which is very well done. If you guys want, go check that out on their page. But I'm going to be kind of going over all of the main points from it in today's video. So here is what we kind of went over. So Corey initially, I believe it was last week, he posed the idea of, it might have actually been in their AMA session as well, but he posed the idea of some sort of method of Pega Burning, some sort of feature, because eventually it's going to get to a point where supply sort of outweighs demand, right? Like right now there's still a very low supply of Pegas and there's a very large demand, and so people are trying to get these Pegas and there's not enough available yet, but eventually that's going to flip. And so they're being proactive again and thinking of ways that they can potentially control the population even more. And so he had kind of posed some ideas, and again, these aren't set in stone. These are just him sort of articulating thoughts and getting responses and feedback from the community, which I think is a great way to go about it, being very democratic about it, and just communicating and getting input on the things. They're not just dropping decisions on us blindly and creating backlash, right? They're getting a feel for what's going to be sort of generally accepted, and then they'll move on sort of the best scenarios. So we have the Pega Burning. So there's the idea of the Pegas having a limited lifeline, and so after so many races they could potentially die or go into retirement, okay? And then you would have to pay a certain amount of VIS and burn VIS in order to take the Pegas back out of retirement and continue racing. He also mentioned the idea of this being basically bloodline specific, or sorry, breed type specific. So going from founding, then legendary, then epic, then rare, then pacer. That the founding and legendaries and that would have a higher number of races before reaching retirement versus a pacer. Okay, so you just gave an example, maybe a founding has 3,000 races before going into retirement, where a pacer only has 500 or something of that nature, right? So that was a very unique idea, and I think that's a way that will help sustain the value in VIS and continue creating burning mechanisms for that. And then he also mentioned the idea of potentially having a Pega Burn mechanic in order to facilitate future stadium sales. So if they only had a certain limited number of stadiums NFTs available, they sold out, perhaps they could do some sort of Pega Burning event in order to trigger a new stadium sale, or maybe a certain Pega Burn threshold to sell additional stadiums, something of that nature. But I thought, again, very creative ways to kind of help with population control and the dealing with like the VIS inflation, essentially, right? Okay, so with that being said, those were just kind of speculative things that I thought were interesting. Now we have the big 2022 updates coming here. So January, February, and March. So we have the first big thing is going to be the 3D closed beta gameplay. And this is expected to come out first to second week January. Initially, they were aiming before the end of the year 2021, but that's only 4 days away, and they know that there's issues with it that they're working through fixing and optimizing, so they don't want to put out something just for the sake of releasing it early when they know there's already bugs that they have to fix. So they'd rather put out something that's working properly. And we can get a little sneak peek here. Ken is the man with the leaks. He's always dropping stuff. Here's a little sneak peek of what the 3D racing is going to look like. So this is on the mobile app. So it loads up. You can see all the Pegas here lined up in the gates, which looks amazing. You've got the placements. You're still highlighted here. And then we've got the race starting. 3, 2, 1, go! Right? And then they're just like booking it down the track, and that looks dope. Like, that looks way more entertaining than just the little 2D figures, kind of slowly moving across the screen, right? And then it's got like the camera angle changes and stuff like that. So I think that looks phenomenal. I'm excited to see that. And in regards to that, Corey had mentioned in one of his videos right here, I believe, he was talking about the 3D beta release here. Or no, it was in this. Sorry, I'm getting all over the place, but that's why I've got my notes, right? So the closed beta access, he said it's still to be announced. They haven't released, how many people are going to get access to that or how you're going to gain access. But hey, Corey, if you're watching this, we've got founding Pegas, we got the guild building up. I'm putting out these videos and the content, so I would love to be one of the first to get in on this. But we'll see. So he was saying maybe they'll have an initial sort of group of like 300 people from the community to test out the closed beta, and this is going to be the browser based version, similar to what we just saw on Ken's Twitter there. And then he said ideally he'd want to bring in like 3,000 to 5,000 to kind of test out the closed beta. And then later on would kind of be rolling out into more of an open beta phase and a full public launch of that, but we'll go over that later in the breakdown here. The next big thing was the guild tools. So I've mentioned this in the past. Corey has in his Twitter thing here, Metacash app. Okay, and so this is what I believe they're going to be integrating for the guild tools in Pegaxy. And so he mentioned that there's going to be basically two separate sort of dashboards within it. There's a Metaverse Pulse, which tells you things like the VIS minting versus burn rates, the Pega floor prices in the marketplace, just all the sort of data regarding the game itself and the prices of everything. And then there's going to be a personal dashboard as well, which will show you things like, your manager VIS earnings, your scholars VIS earnings. It'll kind of keep track of their average daily earnings and things like that. And then your total earnings. And it'll just be a great place to be able to, have everything all in one place. Because I know personally for our guild, we just have Google Sheets with a bunch of different pages with different sort of things on each to to keep track of our inventory, to keep track of who's rented where, average earnings, breeding costs, all this sort of stuff. We're doing all of that manually with all these Google Excel calculations essentially. So to be able to have a lot of that info just in one snapshot place, this will be phenomenal. So yeah, this is essentially what I think it's going to look like. Obviously not with these graphics and whatnot, and not with SLP, but I'm expecting something similar to that. So that was the next big thing that he was talking about, the guild tool. So again, initially they were hoping to get that out before the end of the year, but they wanted to add some additional features and things into this beta of the guild tools. They didn't want to put out just a very minimal product. They wanted it to be a little bit more feature heavy, so they're delaying that until basically around the same time as the 3D closed beta release here, I believe is what he mentioned. So first, second week January is kind of what we can expect for that, so I'm pumped to see that coming. The next big thing here is the Kyber swap. He said there's going to be a swap widget, so basically Kyber swap integrated into the Pegaxy website, so you're going to be able to swap your like Matic for PGX and VIS and USDT and all that sort of stuff. Just swap right within the Pegaxy site. You don't have to go to a third-party site, which is amazing, as well as integrating ramp, so that you'll be able to purchase and sell with your credit card right on the Pegaxy site. You don't need to use a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange. You can just, input your credit card info, buy Matic, buy USDT, buy, VIS, PGX, whatever you need for the game right there with the card. Plus, they'll be integrating an off-ramp process as well, which you can convert then your VIS earnings right back to your fiat currency on your credit card as well. So that is amazing. I think that's a very big step that a lot of these NFT games have to start implementing and thinking about, because that is going to help bring down the barrier to entry for traditional gamers, right? If someone's not in the crypto space and you have to explain to them that they have to, use a centralized exchange, they have to KYC, and then they have to then go and transfer funds to a wallet, and then use a decentralized exchange to swap for the tokens that they need to play the game, and then they have to go to the game, connect their wallet, buy the Pegas, buy all these different things. It's a lot of steps for someone that's not familiarized in the crypto space. Whereas if you can just say, yeah, just go to the Pegaxy site, use your credit card to buy some tokens and buy some Pegas, and then you're good to go, that is infinitely easier to get people onboarded into the NFT gaming space. So I think that's huge, and that'll be really, really cool to see how that sort of impacts the player base and all of that stuff. But I'm excited for that. The next thing he mentioned is the Pega food, and this will cost VIS to change the names of your Pegas. So that's something that I have a few Pegas that I had to buy off the market, and some that I didn't have the same naming sort of convention earlier on. So there's ones that maybe I'd want to pay some VIS to rename them to make sure everything's sort of named the same way. We've got like our guild clan tag, the name of the Pega, and then the number and the type of Pega that it is. That's just how we like to name them. But yeah, that's another VIS burning mechanism that will be great to see in we'll leave it on the Pega here. I think you've seen enough of the side of Corey's face for a minute here. All right, so that's really cool. That's going to be another VIS burning mechanism, which will be great. And again, the goal is to have that implemented in January. They have the initial Pegaxy food sale for VIS, obviously, and then the one key thing he mentioned was all the VIS from this is going to be burned initially, or at least from this initial sale. So again, that's going to help to combat VIS inflation or overinflation, and help to boost the value and the price of VIS. And then the next thing is going to be the official release of the web game. So coming out of beta testing towards the end of Q1, and then crowned Pegas with those fabled tokens is another thing that they're working on. But again, Corey had mentioned that they really want to make sure that these crowned Pegas have their own unique identity and look to them, so that is, if you're racing a crowned Pega, you're gonna know, kind of thing. So I think that's that's smart. I unfortunately don't have fabled tokens, so I won't be able to get one of these crowned Pegas. But for those that do and end up getting a crown Pega, those are going to be very rare, and so people are going to want to show those off. So I think any way that you can get to make them really stand out, like, hey, I don't know, maybe they got like a Super Saiyan glow around them the whole time they're racing or something, I don't know, right? But just some way that they're noticeably a crown Pega versus not, right? Then we have Q2 moving into April, May, June. So this is going to be the big Pegaxy Stadium NFT sales. I'm actually kind of happy about this because it gives us a little bit more time to kind of stack up some VIS earnings and, you know, kind of put an allotment aside for the stadium sales, because he has mentioned that this is going to be another purchase done in VIS. And so that will be very big. It'll be sometime Q2. I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to be trying to get my hands on one of those, and I believe, you know, most of the big guilds will be as well. Open beta release of the mobile game for Android. So this is, again, just going to be bringing the, you know, the mobile game out of beta out of closed beta and going to open in Android. And then they have the initial Pegaxy Gear sale. So this is where you're going to be able to equip your Pega with gear to give them different sort of stat effects to better cater to the stadium that you're racing in. And they've mentioned many times that they do have balancing mechanisms with every sort of feature that they implement. So the Pega Gear, for every buff in stats that you get, say you want a piece of gear that's going to boost your Pega's water and lightning, it's likely going to have some negative effects on, you know, wind and fire or something like that, right? Or maybe you want to boost your speed. If you want to do that, it's going to bring down your strength or your lightning or, you know, one of these stats. So every positive that you get from the gear is going to have a negative associated with it as well. So there's always going to be some sort of yin and yang there, some sort of balancing, which is nice because we don't want this thing to be pay to win. And that's one thing that they've been adamant about from the start, is that they don't want it pay to win. They want everyone to have sort of a fair opportunity to be able to earn. And the Pega Gear is just an additional element that can give you a slight advantage on the stadium that you're on, but it's going to have pluses and negatives essentially, right? Pros and cons. And then he mentioned something, this is just a preliminary plan or idea, but also Pegaxy NFT loot boxes. So potentially be some sort of loot box sale. I don't know what that would include or what that would, you know, incorporate or anything, but he just mentioned that could be something coming Q2 as well as a community hackathon. So they have a developer incentive fund with that they're going to be paying out rewards for the community hackathon here to really just kind of see what the community can do and I guess, you know, source some talent and source some cool ideas and things from that. So that's really cool. And then we have Q3, another big thing. So we've got the official mobile game release. So this is, you know, all the features live on mobile, no more beta. Introduction of the community treasury. So fees from breeding and marketplace go to the community treasury. And then the Grand Dash, which is the big global Pegaxy tournament, more of like an esports sort of event. This is aimed for mid Q3 2022. So probably around August, so that we're, you know, staying away from like the winter, Christmas sort of months, you know, holiday months as much as possible to have the sort of biggest player base. So that'll be really, really cool as well. I'm excited to see, you know, what they kind of put together for that. And then the final quarter is where they're going to basically take a step back from implementing, you know, so many new features and upgrades and things like that, and they're going to focus just on fully optimizing the game, making sure everything's functioning properly, doing some UI and UX updates to make the experience for the users better, and, you know, improving the marketplace if needed, optimizing racing, just basically, you know, going around and tweaking and updating things to make sure everything's nice and polished and working as it should be. And then they also mentioned if they're behind on any of these features, because this is a lot, this can be additional time where they have to kind of catch up on any of those features that they're behind on. The next big thing that Corey talked about in the sort of update here, he mentioned he'll be doing a separate video on it entirely and likely on Twitter. So that's why I said it'll be good to drop him a follow on Twitter and you know, make sure you're kind of paying attention there, because that's how you can contribute and get your sort of opinions heard in the decisions that they're kind of making as a community about the future of the game. And so Corey had mentioned that the skill-based player-controlled racing, he wanted to discuss with the community before they decide on a date and before they actually implement that, to figure out ways that they can implement it the best way possible, and what sort of direction they should go with the games, because they know that bots and hackers are going to be a massive issue, especially with the ability to earn real world money and good amounts of money from the game. There's going to be bots, there's going to be hackers. You think of Call of Duty and Warzone and stuff like that, like it's just plagued with hackers nonstop. All of these games have bots and things going on. So yeah, that's just something that they want to discuss with the community, bounce ideas off of, and get some feedback and see what is going to be the best way to move forward with that. And he had actually mentioned this as well in this little video here. You can check it out again on his Twitter. It was posted yesterday, and it was related to the fight against bots in the marketplace. Okay, so he basically said, as a scholar or someone looking to rent, when you go to the Pegaxy marketplace here and you try to search for, the renting marketplace here, you try to search for a share profit, they're almost always gone, and the second that they show up, they're rented right away, right? So they know that there's bots there that are snagging them before humans have the ability to rent them out. So they tried implementing like a CAPTCHA feature. So here's one, 10% for you. You could probably get it if you clicked on it right away, and then you did your CAPTCHA, and then you entered in 100 for your Matic fee or whatever, but it'd most likely be gone already anyway. But let's see, we'll refresh. Oh, it's actually still there. I'm surprised that it's still there. But to basically combat those bots, he was suggesting the idea that they would have essentially like a profile set up for scholars, where scholars can kind of build out a little profile about themselves, their preferred profit split, and just like some info about them. He also mentioned the idea of having them KYC potentially to help eliminate bots from snagging all of those spots in the marketplace, all of those rentals. So essentially, as a manager or as an owner of the Pegas, you would go here to share profit. See, that one's already gone. You go here to share profit, you would look at a list of all these different scholars, and you could just select a scholar and say, yeah, I want to rent out to Jimmy John 6432. He looks like a very reputable scholar here. I'm gonna send him my Pega, this is the profit split, and you send it to him, and that's all good, right? So that was just something that he posed, and he's asking for feedback and questions, comments, criticisms, all that sort of stuff. So you can see there's a nice thread of like 60 plus comments. So if you want to voice your opinion on that, make sure you're following on Twitter and you're responding to those things. But that is that. The last thing here, Corey had also mentioned the idea of implementing, sorry, I think I'm stuck in this individual tweet. Corey had also mentioned the idea of implementing a DAO, I believe. I forget where it was here. Right up here. So a DAO inside the Pegaxy community, created and controlled by the guilds for decision making. And then it's, basically the guilds would have the ability to consult with the Pegaxy dev team as an independent body representing all of the guilds as a whole, submitting proposals for the direction of the development, and it's all backed by like the DAO's collective data. So it's not just one centralized team, the Pegaxy team, making all the decisions. It's the actual community behind the game itself, and the bigger guilds that will make up the majority of the player base. They'll all have sort of their own individual say and contribution into the overall sort of idea and suggestions and data, and then the Pegaxy team can use all of that data from the DAO to implement changes and changes and directions that the player community wants to head in, essentially. So that's a very unique and interesting idea as well. So we will see how all that sort of plays out. The last big thing that I wanted to touch on here is VIS, okay, Vigorous, and where I kind of see things going with this, the sort of potential scenarios I see that could play out with VIS and the price of it in the next coming days, because again, we have another big unlock event coming in about 2.5 days here on the 30th of December. And so I was actually, by this point in the sort of locking period, I was expecting this to already be back up closer to the 7-cent range. So I'm not expecting a pump after this big unlock. I'm expecting a drop in price here. You can kind of see it's been playing around in this sort of range, and realistically it's been more in the sort of lower range here, around 5 cents and under. This has sort of been where the price of this has been bouncing up and down between. We had a big spike up last night on the hour that Corey dropped the new Pegaxy video. Actually, it was like literally right when he put out this video, that whole hour, the price pumped like 10% of this because he mentioned a bunch of VIS burning features for the future, right? But it's basically been bouncing between this zone. It's just kind of stuck in this place, consolidating, sitting on some support. Now, the thing that I see happening here is on the 30th, these bigger guilds, you think of, you know, Real Deal Guild, Triple Crown, any of these like platinum ranked guilds with their 1,500 Pegas, and that's assuming that they didn't breed any more, right? So with 1,500 Pegas earning, let's say, an average of 200 VIS per day with their profit split, you know, I don't know what their profit share model is, if they're, you know, keeping more or less, but let's say each Pega is earning about 200 VIS per day for them, right? Let's pull up the little trusty dusty calculator here. 2,000 times 15, or sorry, 200 times 1,500 Pegas, that's 300,000 VIS per day. So you multiply that by 15, that's 4.5 million VIS just from one guild, right? So we saw last time, let me just pull up the chart here that I got, and I don't remember where exactly I got this, but I have it in my Pegaxy resources in my Discord here, the Six Pack Gaming Discord. We have the mint to burn chart and ratio here for VIS, and so you can see last big unlock there was 33 million new minted VIS that came unlocked, and then another like 16 million the next day. So basically about 50 million VIS unlocked on that big unlock period. Now there's probably 50% more Pegas. So if we're expecting 50% more VIS to be minted from that, that'd be closer to 75 million coming. With that huge increase, you know, probably close to 75 million VIS coming back unlocked once again, I don't see the price going up because there's going to be more supply and the same sort of demand, right? Especially since the price hasn't bounced back up through this resistance here. The next sort of support and level that I could see VIS coming down to would likely be around here. So we're looking at 2.7 cents, right? So I could definitely see things falling down to right here. Let's be a little more optimistic here. Let's say we'll be a little realistic. So 2.7 to 3.5 cents, somewhere in this zone is where I could see very likely. Obviously, you know, things can change, things can not go this way, but I could see things coming down here, bouncing around here, and doing the same sort of thing that we saw here with this consolidation. So yeah, that's just something to consider if you're sitting on some locked VIS right now, kind of waiting for the time to claim, and you think the new year will be the best time to do that. I don't really see the price of VIS pumping up until some of these newer features that we talked about in the roadmap are implemented, right? So we have things like the Pega food. All right, that's going to be the next big thing for VIS burning to increase the initial Pega food sale, the name changing. I believe they also mentioned doing the color changes as well. So that I can see pumping the price up a little bit. And then the big thing that's going to help balance things out is going to be the stadium sales in Q2. So, you know, we might have a little bit of a rocky Q1 here with the VIS price. We might see it drop down fairly low. That's kind of to be expected, to be honest. And then Q2, we could see a really nice pump, right? But you know, I can't predict the future any more than you can, right? So if you're a fortune teller, let me know where everything's going. But this is just kind of what I see looking at the charts. And obviously things can change because it's still pretty low liquidity on this. There's not a huge supply because it is a proof of work token. And again, the game is only what, 6 weeks old? How old is this now? 2 months, month and a half, 2 months. Very, very young still. So there's lots that can kind of play out and happen. I just wanted to let you guys know that, you know, in 2 days or so, I would personally expect the price of VIS to drop. So I wouldn't be alarmed by that. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up to let you know VIS doesn't just, you know, constantly go up forever. Nothing does. And if anything, the most likely scenario I see playing out is VIS dropping down to somewhere between this level of, you know, let's say 2.5 to 3.5, somewhere around there. So just kind of prepare for that, right? Expect the best, prepare for the worst. That's kind of the way that you can go about these things, right? And one last thing before we go, it is time for the free NFT giveaway. This is from Fusion Monsters, our buddies over there sponsoring this one. This is going to be an upcoming play to earn game here in 2022 where they basically take multiple Pokemon, they fuse them together. There's going to be breeding, scholarships, the whole nine. If you guys like Pokemon, you're going to love this. So be sure to go check it out. I have a video going over all the details already on the channel as well that you can check out. And here is how you can enter this giveaway for one of these free NFTs for this upcoming NFT game. You have to like the video, you gotta subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below with your favorite Pokemon. Okay, once you've done that, come over to the Six Pack Gaming Discord. The link is in the description. Come to the YouTube giveaways channel here and enter your YouTube username as well as your Polygon MetaMask wallet address so that we can confirm you as the winner if you're drawn. And lastly, make sure you join the Fusion Monsters Discord so we can hook you up and get you your free FUSEMON if you happen to win it. Okay, so like the video, subscribe, comment with your favorite Pokemon, enter your wallet and YouTube username in the Six Pack Gaming Discord, and then join the Fusion Monsters Discord. All the info again is linked down in the description. It's as easy as that, and that can get you one of these dope NFTs to get you into that game. All right, so that's everything with Pegaxy. That is the free NFT giveaway we'll be doing with this. I wish you guys all the best of luck in that. And now, before we pop off here, our favorite, we have to send a big shout out to all of the latest subs, all the newest members of Six Pack Gaming here on the channel. You guys are continuing to blow it up. Let's keep going. We have smashed the 5K milestone. Now we're gunning towards 10K, right? So Joshua, Andreas, Crypto IOA, Spida, Speedy Sunshine, Mark, Florenstein, Peter, Snow, Rashid, Matthew, Austin, Yassine, Reuven, Vocalize, you're already a sub, but the tip, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. Kuya, Lance, Hong, Try Me, iPhone, Amin, and Adrian. Big shout out. Thank you guys so much for the support. Welcome to Six Pack Gaming. And that is everything. My goodness, so many updates, so many things coming with this. I am pumped. I hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comments below. You know what to do. Smash that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and you got notifications turned on. And we have a lot of new videos coming up for new play to earn projects, new NFT games, all of these things in the works. Things that you can get in on the absolute ground floor. So make sure you're tuning in for those. As always, until next time, train hard, game hard, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out, everyone.